marketing side.
Yo, what's up, world? It's the Good World Facts and News channel, here to drop some knowledge about a cultural phenomenon we call hip-hop. For 50 years, this movement has gone from the streets of the Bronx to every corner of the globe. We're talking global domination, baby. But how did it happen? How did a bunch of kids with turntables and microphones change the face of music forever? Buckle up. We're going back to the roots, to the concrete jungle where it all began. The Bronx, New York City, the 1970s. Picture this, the Bronx in the 70s, not glamorous, buildings are burning, times are tough, but amidst the struggle, something beautiful is brewing. Out of the chaos, a generation finds its voice. It's raw, it's real, it's hip-hop. Imagine block parties pulsing with energy. DJs like Kool Herc extending breaks, keeping the crowd moving. The Bronx was a melting pot, and hip-hop became its soundtrack. These weren't just parties, they were cultural gatherings. Turntables become instruments, scratching and mixing, transforming vinyl into sonic tapestries. Hip-hop was never just about the music, it was a culture, a way of life. Graffiti artists turned urban landscapes into vibrant canvases. B-boys and B-girls took to the streets, their bodies moving in ways nobody had ever seen before. MCs grabbed the mic, spitting rhymes that reflected the realities of their lives. Hip-hop became a platform for social commentary, addressing issues like poverty, inequality and police brutality. Four elements, intertwined, formed the foundation of hip-hop culture. DJing, the art of manipulating sound, creating the sonic backdrop for this new movement. MCing, the lyrical prowess, the rhythmic flow of words, telling stories and sparking conversations. B-boying and B-girling, defying gravity with athleticism and artistry, turning the streets into a dance floor. Graffiti transforming urban landscapes into vibrant canvases, expressing creativity through colourful murals and tags. These four elements, distinct yet interconnected, formed the pillars of hip-hop culture. From the streets of the Bronx, hip-hop was about to explode, its influence spreading far beyond the borders of New York City. The 1970s in the South Bronx were a time of social and economic turmoil. The borough was grappling with poverty, crime and neglect. Buildings lay abandoned, consumed by flames that seemed to mirror the frustrations of a community pushed to the edge. The vibrant, multicultural neighborhoods that once thrived were struggling to survive. Yet, amidst the despair, a resilient spirit refused to be extinguished. The youth of the Bronx, faced with adversity, sought solace and expression in the most unexpected of places: music, art, and movement. This was not the Bronx depicted in glossy magazines or on television screens, but within these forgotten streets a cultural revolution was brewing.
To grow your
Amidst the social and economic turmoil, individuals like DJ Kool Herc emerged, true visionaries who would become synonymous with hip-hop's birth. Armed with turntables and a deep love for music, Herc began throwing parties in community centres and parks, providing a much-needed escape for a generation yearning for joy and release. His innovative technique of extending the instrumental breaks of funk and soul records using two turntables to create a continuous loop laid the foundation for what we know as hip-hop DJing. The impact of Herc's innovations reverberated beyond the Bronx. His parties became legendary, drawing crowds eager to experience the raw energy and infectious rhythms. As DJing provided the rhythmic foundation, another element of hip-hop emerged: MCing. Initially, MCs or masters of ceremonies were the hype men and women who kept the crowd energized at parties. They would introduce the DJs, interact with the audience, and keep the energy levels high. However, MCing quickly evolved into an art form of its own, as MCs began to incorporate rhymes, chants, and eventually full-fledged verses into their routines. The rhymes weren't just catchy phrases, they were reflections of life in the Bronx, raw and unfiltered. MCs became storytellers, chronicling the realities of their community, the struggles, the triumphs, the frustrations, and the hopes. Hip-hop wasn't just about the music or the lyrics, it was about community. It was about creating something from nothing, finding joy and expression amidst adversity. It transcended cultural and ethnic boundaries, uniting young people from all walks of life under a shared passion for music, dance, and art. In a borough often divided by racial and economic tensions, hip-hop emerged as a unifying force. Hip-hop became a common language, a shared experience that transcended differences. As the 1970s drew to a close, hip-hop was beginning to outgrow its birthplace. Word of this new cultural phenomenon spread beyond the Bronx, carried by DJs, MCs, and those who had witnessed its raw power firsthand. Record labels, initially hesitant, began to take notice, recognizing the commercial potential of this burgeoning movement. The first hip-hop records were pressed, carrying the sounds of the Bronx to a wider audience. The seeds of a global movement had been sown. Hip-hop, born in the heart of the Bronx, was about to embark on a journey that would see it conquer the world. The early 1980s marked a turning point for hip-hop. No longer confined to the parks and community centers of the Bronx, this vibrant culture was about to explode onto the global stage. The Sugar Hill Gang's Rapper's Delight, released in 1979, became a groundbreaking hit, introducing hip-hop to a mainstream audience for the very first time. This infectious track, with its catchy rhymes and irresistible groove, proved that hip-hop had the power to transcend cultural boundaries. Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five emerged as pioneers, pushing the boundaries of both musical and lyrical innovation. Their groundbreaking track, The Message, released in 1982, tackled social issues with an urgency and rawness that resonated deeply with listeners. Run DMC, hailing from Hollis, Queens, burst onto the scene with their hard-hitting beats and minimalist aesthetic. Their self-titled debut album, released in 1984, became a landmark release, solidifying hip-hop's place in the mainstream. They challenged the status quo, both musically and visually, with their signature Adidas tracksuits, fedora hats, and unapologetically streetwise lyrics. Run DMC's impact extended beyond music. They became cultural icons influencing fashion, language, and attitude. These early pioneers set the stage for hip-hop's meteoric rise. The mid to late 1980s is often referred to as hip-hop's golden era, a period marked by an explosion of creativity, lyrical prowess, and musical innovation. This was a time when MCs honed their skills, pushing the boundaries of wordplay, storytelling, and social commentary. Producers experimented with sampling, creating intricate sonic landscapes that drew inspiration from a diverse range of musical genres. Public Enemy, led by the charismatic Chuck D and the sonic mastermind Flavor Flav, emerged as one of the most important and influential groups of the golden era. Their politically charged lyrics, delivered with Chuck D's booming voice and Flavor Flav's comedic interjections, challenged listeners to confront social injustices and fight for equality. A Tribe Called Quest, hailing from Queens, New York, offered a refreshing alternative to the often aggressive tone of hip-hop at the time. Their jazz-infused beats, introspective lyrics, and playful wordplay created a unique and enduring sound that continues to influence artists today. The golden era was a time of boundless creativity and artistic exploration. As hip-hop continued its ascent in the early 1990s, a rivalry emerged between the East Coast and West Coast, fueled by musical differences, cultural clashes, and media hype. This rivalry, though often exaggerated and sensationalized, reflected the growing diversity and regional identities within hip-hop culture. On the East Coast, artists like Nas, Wu-Tang Clan and the Notorious Big carried the torch of hardcore hip-hop, with their gritty lyrics, complex rhyme schemes and raw depictions of street life. Nas's debut album, Illmatic, released in 1994, is widely considered one of the greatest hip-hop albums of all time. On the West Coast, artists like Tupac Shakur, Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre redefined the sound and style of hip-hop. Tupac's raw emotion, poetic lyricism and social consciousness made him a cultural icon, while Snoop Dogg's laid-back flow and Dr. Dre's innovative production techniques helped to popularize the G-Funk sound. The East Coast-West Coast rivalry, while ultimately tragic, highlighted the creative dynamism and regional diversity within hip-hop. Despite the conflicts, hip-hop continued to evolve, pushing boundaries, breaking down barriers, and solidifying its place as a global cultural force. By the mid-1990s, hip-hop had transcended its American roots to become a truly global phenomenon. Fueled by the rise of MTV, the internet, and the increasing interconnectedness of the world, hip-hop culture spread like wildfire, captivating audiences from Paris to Tokyo, Rio de Janeiro to Johannesburg. In Europe, hip-hop found fertile ground in countries like France, Germany, and the United Kingdom. Artists like MC Solar, Die Fantastischen Wir, and The Streets emerged, blending hip-hop's core elements with their own cultural influences, languages and perspectives. In Asia, hip-hop took root in Japan, South Korea and other countries, evolving into distinct subgenres and influencing local music scenes. Japanese hip-hop, known for its innovative production techniques and unique lyrical styles, gained international recognition. In Africa, hip-hop resonated deeply with a continent grappling with its own history of colonialism, social injustice, and political turmoil. Hip-hop's global journey was just beginning, inspiring new generations of artists and solidifying its place as the most influential cultural force of the 21st century. By the late 1990s, hip-hop had firmly established itself as a dominant force in mainstream culture. Hip-hop's influence permeated music, fashion, art, language, and politics. Entrepreneurs like Russell Simmons and Sean Diddy Combs built multi-million-dollar brands. Sneaker culture, deeply intertwined with hip-hop, reached new heights. Hip-hop's impact on language was undeniable. Hip-hop artists became cultural commentators and political activists. Hip-hop's journey from the Bronx to global domination is a testament to its enduring power. Hip-hop is more than music. It's a global movement shaping the world. Remember those early hip-hop movies, Beat Street, Wild Style, Style Wars? They were cultural ambassadors. The New York City rap tour in 1982 brought hip-hop to a global audience. Kids saw breakdancing crews defying gravity. They heard MCs spitting rhymes with passion and felt the infectious beats. Hip-hop was embraced and transformed globally. It became a universal language for youth. From Brazil to Paris, hip-hop blossomed. Think about it. Hip-hop emerged during massive technological advancement. Music traveled faster and farther. A kid in Japan could feel the same spirit as someone in Brooklyn. Hip-hop became the soundtrack to a generation. Let's take a trip around the world, shall we? France, in the 1980s, became a hotbed for hip-hop. Groups like I Am, NTM and MC Solar emerged, rapping in French, addressing social issues. They created something uniquely French. Meanwhile, in Japan, hip-hop took on a life of its own. Artists like DJ Crush and Shing02 infused traditional Japanese elements. Hip-hop resonated deeply in Africa. Artists blended hip-hop with traditional African sounds. Hip-hop transcended its American origins to become a global phenomenon. One of the most beautiful things about hip-hop's global journey is that it never involved erasing local cultures. Instead, hip-hop became a tool for cultural exchange, a way for artists to celebrate their own heritage while connecting with a global community. In Brazil, for example, hip-hop became intertwined with the rhythms and social consciousness of samba and bossa nova. Artists like Raciones MCs and Marcelo D2 used their music to address poverty, inequality, and the struggles of life in the favelas. In Cuba, hip-hop became a way for artists to push back against government censorship and express themselves freely. Groups like Orishas and Los Aldeanos fused hip-hop with traditional Cuban music, creating a sound that was both politically charged and undeniably Cuban. Their music became a voice for a generation, yearning for change and artistic freedom. This fusion of local cultures and hip-hop created a beautiful tapestry of sounds and styles. Think about the global influence of reggae and dancehall on hip-hop. Artists like Supercat, Shabba Ranks, and later Sean Paul and Damian Marley brought the sounds of Jamaica to a global audience, influencing hip-hop's flow, rhythms, and even fashion. Global hip-hop wasn't just about borrowing, it was about creating something new, something that reflected the unique experiences and perspectives of artists from around the world. One of the most powerful aspects of hip-hop has always been its ability to spark dialogue, to give voice to the voiceless, and to address social and political issues that resonate with people from all walks of life. This power of hip-hop to transcend language barriers and connect with listeners on a deeper level is truly remarkable. Think about the impact of Fight the Power by Public Enemy, a song that became an anthem for marginalized communities around the world. Or consider the powerful lyrics of Immortal Technique, a Peruvian-American rapper known for his politically charged music addressing issues like imperialism, poverty, and government corruption. Hip-hop became a way for artists to speak truth to power, to challenge the status quo, and to connect with others who shared their experiences and frustrations. It became a global conversation, a way for people from different cultures and backgrounds to find common ground and work towards a more just and equitable world. As we celebrate 50 years of hip-hop, it's clear that the future of this global movement is brighter than ever. With the rise of streaming services and social media, geographical boundaries have become virtually meaningless. Artists from all corners of the globe can connect with fans, collaborate with each other, and share their music with the world at the click of a button. We're seeing a new generation of artists emerging, pushing the boundaries of hip-hop in exciting new directions. From the trap-infused sounds of Latin American hip-hop to the grime scene in the UK, hip-hop continues to evolve, incorporating new influences and pushing creative boundaries. So, what's next for hip-hop? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, the future of hip-hop is global, diverse, and more powerful than ever. As long as there are stories to be told, injustices to be challenged, and beats to make us move, hip-hop will continue to be a force for change and a voice for the people. Yo, we've journeyed through hip-hop's evolution, from the streets of the Bronx to global stages. Now let's talk about its infiltration, its undeniable influence on other music genres. Hip-hop wasn't content with staying in its lane. It jumped the fences, broke down the walls, and injected its energy, its swagger, into everything it touched. Remember, hip-hop is more than music. It's an attitude, a way of life. And that attitude, that swagger, seeped into the DNA of pop, rock, electronic music and beyond. Think about it. What started as sampled beats and rhymes from the margins became the driving force behind some of the biggest hits across genres. From the early days of Run DMC collaborating with Aerosmith to the rise of hip-hop-infused pop superstars, the influence is undeniable. Hip-hop didn't just collaborate, it revolutionized. It took those rigid genre lines and blurred them until they were practically invisible. This wasn't about hip-hop losing itself, it was about its elements, its essence, enriching and transforming other musical landscapes. The beats, the rhymes, the attitude, they became part of the musical vocabulary, adding a new layer of coolness, a touch of grit, and a whole lot of soul. It's like hip-hop took the world of music by the hand and said, let's dance, and dance we did. Let's talk pop music, baby. Hip-hop didn't just influence pop, it became its backbone. Those infectious beats, those catchy hooks, that swagger, they became staples of global pop hits. Think about Michael Jackson's Bad, produced by Quincy Jones, a master of blending genres. The song's hard-hitting beat and edgy lyrics were pure hip-hop attitude injected into the heart of pop. Then came the rise of artists like Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston, vocal powerhouses who weren't afraid to embrace hip-hop influences. They collaborated with rappers, incorporated hip-hop elements into their music videos, and brought a new level of cool to the pop world. These artists understood that hip-hop wasn't just about rapping, it was about attitude, about pushing boundaries, about owning your power. Fast forward to today, and hip-hop's influence on pop is undeniable. From Beyoncé and Drake to Billie Eilish and The Weeknd, the biggest names in pop are drawing inspiration from hip-hop's beats, its lyrical flow, and its undeniable swagger. It's not about imitation, it's about evolution. Hip-hop injected pop music with a dose of realism, a touch of grit, and a whole lot of soul, making it impossible to ignore. Now, let's headbang our way over to the world of rock. Rock and roll, with its roots in rebellion and raw energy, found a kindred spirit in hip-hop. From the early days of Run DMC's groundbreaking collaboration with Aerosmith on Walk This Way, to the emergence of rap rock bands like Rage Against the Machine and Linkin Park, the fusion of rock's intensity and hip-hop's rhythmic and lyrical prowess created a sonic explosion. These collaborations weren't just about musical experimentation. They were about breaking down barriers, challenging conventions, and creating something entirely new. The energy of a distorted guitar riff met the rhythmic force of a hip-hop beat, creating a sound that was both familiar and revolutionary. The influence didn't stop there. Artists like Red Hot Chili Peppers incorporated elements of funk and hip-hop into their sound, creating a unique blend of genres that propelled them to global stardom. Hip-hop's influence on rock wasn't about softening its edges, it was about adding another layer of complexity, a rhythmic and lyrical depth that resonated with a new generation of music fans. Last stop on our genre-bending journey, electronic music. The world of electronic music, with its pulsating beats and futuristic soundscapes, found a natural synergy with hip-hop's rhythmic sensibilities. From the early days of house music, born in the underground clubs of Chicago, to the global phenomenon of EDM, hip-hop's influence has been undeniable. Producers began incorporating hip-hop breakbeats into their electronic productions, creating a sound that was both danceable and undeniably funky. The emergence of trip-hop in the 1990s, with its down-tempo beats, atmospheric soundscapes, and often introspective lyrics, further blurred the lines between electronic music and hip-hop. Today, the fusion of electronic music and hip-hop is more prevalent than ever. Artists like Flying Lotus, Hudson Mohawke, and Kaytranada are creating groundbreaking music that seamlessly blends electronic beats, hip-hop rhythms, and a global array of influences. This fusion has created entirely new subgenres, pushing the boundaries of both electronic music and hip-hop, and captivating audiences around the world. And that, my friends, is the power of hip-hop. It's a global force, a cultural phenomenon that continues to shape and redefine the world of music, one beat, one rhyme, one genre at a time. So here we are, 50 years deep into the hip-hop revolution. From those park jams in the Bronx to stadiums around the world, hip-hop's journey has been nothing short of phenomenal. We've seen it evolve from a local phenomenon to a global force. influencing music, fashion, art, language, and everything in between. And let me tell you, the momentum ain't slowing down. Today, hip-hop is arguably the most popular genre on the planet. It dominates the charts, sets trends, and continues to push creative boundaries. But more importantly, it remains a powerful voice for the people, a platform for social commentary, and a celebration of cultural diversity. The beauty of hip-hop lies in its ability to constantly reinvent itself. Just when you think you've got it figured out, a new sound, a new style, a new voice emerges, reminding us that hip-hop is a living, breathing culture in a constant state of evolution. Think about it. We've gone from the boom-bap beats of the golden era to the trap sounds that dominate today's airwaves. We've seen the rise of subgenres like mumble rap and drill, each with its own unique style and cultural context. Some folks might say, oh, hip-hop ain't what it used to be, but you know what I say? Hip-hop has always been about pushing boundaries, challenging expectations, and reflecting the realities of the times. And let's not forget the global influence. Hip-hop isn't just an American export anymore. It's a global language spoken in countless accents, rhythms, and styles. From the grime scene in the UK to the Afrobeat-infused hip-hop coming out of Nigeria, the future of hip-hop is a global tapestry of sound and experience. The point is, hip-hop has never been a monolith. It's a constantly evolving ecosystem of creativity, innovation, and cultural exchange. And that's what makes it so exciting. There's always something new to discover, something to challenge your ears, your mind, and your soul. As we celebrate 50 years of hip-hop, it's important to acknowledge its legacy. This culture, born out of struggle and resilience, has created a space for marginalized voices to be heard, for stories to be told, and for communities to be built. It's given birth to countless artists, entrepreneurs, activists, and thinkers who've shaped the cultural landscape. Hip-hop has taught us the power of words, the importance of rhythm, and the beauty of self-expression. It's shown us that creativity can blossom in the most unexpected of places, and that even in the face of adversity, there's always room for joy, for resistance, and for hope. So to all the DJs, MCs, breakdancers, graffiti artists, producers, and fans who have contributed to this incredible journey, I salute you. You've created something truly special, something that continues to inspire and uplift generations. Here's to the next 50 years of hip-hop. May it continue to be a global force for good, a beacon of creativity, and a testament to the power of human expression. Peace out.